Welcome to a special episode of the Urban Review with Oscar
and Claire,
transmitting aboard the Coast Starlight 11 train. Rewinding to last Sunday when the winds kept the harbor patrol busy. Just after 6:30 in the evening, crews were called out to rescue a boat. The winds were dragging it out to sea. The anchor wasn't holding it in place, so crews had to cut the anchor and towed the boat back into the harbor.
On Monday, a fire broke out in Fillmore, burned over 170 acres. About 200 people in dozens of homes were forced to evacuate as the wind-driven brush fire burned east of Goodenough Road and north of 4th Street. Fire officials say they believe a downed power line may have been the cause, but they're still looking into what exactly happened. Over 400 personnel from Ventura County Fire, LA County, Cal Fire, Fillmore City, Santa Barbara, and also SLO counties were on scene battling the flames.
In international news, former British Prime Minister Margaret Thatcher passed away overnight from a stroke. Thatcher was Britain's first female prime minister, and she led the country for 11 years. She also led a successful war against Argentina in 1982 in the Falkland Islands. Margaret Thatcher was 87.
Moving on to Tuesday, a video posted on Facebook at this year's Deltopia with the comment, "Cop got beat up and shamed into limping away," gained a lot of attention. It shows a sheriff's deputy on the ground surrounded by a group of Deltopia partiers. The deputy gets up and starts limping away to escape the crowd as they yell and scream at him. Students say the deputy approached a young man to cite him when the man pushed him to the ground and ran away. The sheriff department gives a completely different version of the event, saying the deputy was initially pushed down by the young man, then tripped off the curb and gives chase to the man. The suspect is 22-year-old Manuel Perez Soto. He's a junior at San Diego State and was in town for Deltopia. He's now facing charges for resisting arrest and battery on a peace officer.
Investigators now think the girl whose body was found in the ocean last weekend fell from the cliffs in Isla Vista. Giselle Ayala was a freshman at Cal Poly. She was visiting with friends for the so-called Deltopia event. The coroner's office says her injuries are consistent with someone who fell a long way. Ayala was from Santa Rosa. On Wednesday, very tense moments on Highway 101 in Goleta when a man with a knife stopped traffic and squared off with sheriff's deputies. The moving standoff forced a freeway shutdown in both directions, and multiple sheriffs and highway patrol units racing to the scene to corral the suspect and help drivers cut up with the tense confrontation. The suspect was shot with a taser gun 7 times before finally being subdued because of his thick clothing. The elderly man has been identified as 62-year-old Harley Brian Kelly. Kelly has been arrested for assault with a deadly weapon against a peace officer and booked into Santa Barbara County Jail.
A former Santa Barbara gymnastics coach is behind bars facing new sex abuse charges. Jeffrey Bettman was a coach at UCSB from the 1980s until recently, in 2003. Before he left town, he was accused of molesting 2 of his athletes. He was never convicted of a crime, and a jury in a civil suit found him not guilty. Last year, he was arrested in Southern Oregon, where he coached girls gymnastics since leaving Santa Barbara. An undercover investigation targeted Bettman for downloading and trading child pornography. When detectives confiscated his personal computer, they discovered disturbing videos. Bettman now faces additional charges, which include encouraging child sex abuse.
On Thursday, the man who claimed Santa Barbara police beat him up during a DUI arrest about a year and a half ago is now a free man, cleared of all charges. The DA's office determined there is not enough evidence to move forward with its retrial of Tony D'Annunzio. D'Annunzio and bystanders who saw the arrest accused Santa Barbara police officer Aaron Tudor and other officers of brutally beating him and tasing him 13 times. After all the media attention, the DA's office decided there was not enough evidence to charge D'Annunzio with resisting arrest, or that the police officers were using excessive force.
A nearly 25-year-old cold case is now closed. The suspect who allegedly killed 24-year-old Bernardo Santos Sierra in Santa Barbara back in September of 1988 is now behind bars. Pedro Alonso Bravo is currently in custody in Mexico City. He escaped to Mexico, where he remained a fugitive. Santa Barbara Police Chief Cam Sanchez made the announcement on Thursday morning. Sanchez says Bravo will stay in Mexico, and since he's a Mexican national, he will be tried and convicted there.
One of the most dangerous beach bluffs in the county is much safer favor today. Until now, the bluff on Del Playa Drive in Isla Vista didn't have a fence to stop people from falling 50 feet to the beach below. Over the years, people have been seriously hurt and even died there. However, student fundraising and money from the Santa Barbara County Parks Department paid for the $6,000 fence cost. The dedication ceremony will be held early next month.
Friday in Los Olivos, a fatal accident involving an SUV and motorcycle occurred on the 2500 block of Alamo Pintado Avenue just after 1:30 in the afternoon. It happened near an elementary school, but no children were hurt in the incident. The motorcycle driver was pronounced dead at the scene. The cause of the accident is still investigation, but authorities do say there is a blind curve in that area.
And finally, Saturday, a Santa Barbara grocery store manager could be facing more than 5 years in prison after pleading no contest to embezzling from his employer, according to the Santa Barbara County District Attorney's Office. Samuel Rivera entered the plea to 2 felony counts, embezzlement and grand theft, after being accused of stealing $65,000 from Santa Cruz Market on Montecito Street in Santa Barbara. Rivera was a long-term employee of the market and was acting as store manager at the time the crimes occurred. A no-contest plea is not an admission of guilt, but has the same effect as a conviction or guilty plea in terms of punishment. Rivera is scheduled to return to court May 24th for sentencing by Superior Court Judge Clifford R. Anderson. Today's talking point involves your taxes. Tax deadline is tomorrow. Have you done your taxes yet?
I have done my taxes.
Oh, yeah? Well, that's good, because a lot of people have not, and CPAs are working hard to get those taxes in before you're charged a penalty.
I also hear at the Reading Post in Montecito, they can help expedite your tax paperwork if you mail it through that post office. They'll do a really great job to get it there on time.
Well, I mean, certainly there are different methods to filing your taxes. What do you use to file your taxes?
Before, I've used H&R Block and found it very successful, although sometimes it's difficult with the charges that they put upon you when you do your taxes there. But this year, I found a really cool method online to submit my tax return.
Well, yeah, it's really easy and it's almost instantaneously. I mean, that's what I do. I file my taxes online through Tax Act, which is an online service. You input all your information from your W-2 form, and it takes, I would say, about an hour, maybe less. It depends on how much paperwork you have. And you send it electronically to we just file your federal taxes as well as your state taxes within the same online service. And yeah, it's done. It's over. You're done. But then, I tried H&R Block before, and they just charge you a ridiculous price for doing something so simple. It's not hard to look at your W-2 form and fill in the blanks. It's not hard at all. Am I right or am I wrong?
No, you're right. It's a great way. You just got to commit to doing it in an evening and just get it done. And it's easy. And hopefully if you fill it out right, you'll get a great return.
Exactly. Support this year's Jewish festival with a kickoff open house, including entertainment, auction, wine and appetizers, and a slideshow. This is Tuesday, April 16th from 5 to 7 p.m. at the Congregation B'nai B'rith on 1000 San Antonio Creek Road, Santa Barbara. All ages are welcome. And Sunday, April 21st, Earth Day Festival is back from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Alameda Park, 1400 Santa Barbara Street. It's free and all ages are welcome.
Also on Sunday is Founding Day. We will be celebrating Santa Barbara's 231st birthday at El Presidio de Santa Barbara State Historic Park on 223 East Canon Perdido Street. The festivities will begin from noon to 3 o'clock. Hope you can join to celebrate with early California music, dance, pottery, blacksmithing, adobe brick making, archaeology, and more. The event is free. On Saturday, April 20th at 8 o'clock in the morning will be the Santa Barbara Chardonnay 10-miler and 5K run. The event will be held at Ledbetter Beach, and you can run along the beautiful coastline and taste wine after the event.
And that does it for this week's show. Join us next week for another episode of
The Urban Review
with Oscar and Claire. Have a good one.